Welcome to another edition of the Texas Tech Hoop Scoop. I'm Jarret Johnson. I'm joined by the mighty Joe Yeager. Mighty Joe, man, another huge test for the Red Raiders Wednesday night against West Virginia Mountaineers, number 12 team in the country, coming off a huge win in the Big 12 SEC Challenge. Man, Mountaineers, in my opinion, are just a really tough matchup for Texas Tech this year. I mean, they are normally, but I mean, this year especially, it seems like they're strong where Tech has some deficiencies. But how do you see the game going for the Red Raiders Wednesday night?
Well, I mean, first off, it's going to be a pressure-packed game from Texas Tech's standpoint.
Yeah.
I mean, they need to get a win in the worst way right now. It's not a must-win for NCAA tournament purposes, but if they lose this game, then they're in desperation mode, and they have to start winning and winning big. So there's a lot of pressure. So that's the first thing they got to deal with. And then, with West Virginia, you got to figure out how to score.
Yeah.
And one of the things that you have to deal with in that regard is because West Virginia is such a deep team, they have a legitimate 12-man rotation. They can play with such energy.
Yeah.
Everybody's pretty fresh. So that means you kind of got to play a lot of guys too.
Yeah.
And Beard needs contributions. Right now, this is kind of a 7-man rotation team. The starters, Chris Clark, Kevin McCullough. Okay, but you need somebody like an Avery Benson, a Russell Chua, Clarence Nadolny, these guys to step in there. And, Terrence Shannon didn't play in the first game at West Virginia. So you're going to get him back. But you're going to have to play a lot of guys, and how is that going to affect you on offense? Theoretically, that should make you a little bit better on defense, but can these guys get the job done on offense if they're playing big minutes? And how is that going to affect the way Texas Tech plays offense and how efficient they are on offense? So that's a big question mark. Rebounding, of course, against West Virginia is a huge deal. They got whipped by 13, I believe it was, up in Morgantown.
I think it was more than that, actually.
It may have been. It was pretty bad. But, they played Kentucky and played them once they got off to a terrible start on the defensive glass.
Yeah.
Gave up 7 offensive rebounds in 7 minutes.
Wow.
But from that point on, they were basically head up with Kentucky. So they've got to rebound basically the way they did against Kentucky to give themselves a pretty good shot. That's kind of like the keys of it right there. I'm not too afraid of West Virginia from an offensive standpoint. I think defensively Tech can hold those guys down pretty well, as long as they're not killing you on the offensive glass and getting a lot of putbacks. I think you're going to be all right there. I think it's going to be a very low-scoring game. But now another thing to keep in mind is West Virginia will turn the ball over some. All right, and Texas Tech is pretty good at forcing turnovers.
That was really what kept them in the game against Kentucky, right?
Absolutely. And so you're going to need another dose of that. I mean, scoring against those guys in the half court is a job. It really is. So if you can get some points off turnovers, at least double digits, and ideally closer to 20 points off of turnovers, then you're going to give yourself a pretty good shot. So keep an eye on whether Tech is generating turnovers, getting out there. You got to execute on the fast break in that sort of a situation when you get a 3-on-1 or a 2-on-1 or whatever off of a turnover. And so that's really going to be a key as well.
Yeah, you mentioned some of the guys on the bench and how they could play a key role in the game Wednesday night against West Virginia. There's a couple of guys who I feel like here recently have really showed us something. Kevin McCullough, he's played really well off the bench. As a matter of fact, he was getting a lot of the late minutes against Kentucky and played well. And then, look, man, Chewy had a little 3-minute stretch there at the was it the end of the first half? 5 minutes, against Kentucky. I mean Kentucky Bigs, and not only did he hang in there, but he had a block at the rack. He had a nice little reverse layup, and he hit a perimeter jumper as well. And he wasn't a liability in perimeter defense when they switch as much as kind of he was earlier in the season, which I think is what has been keeping him on the bench. So if you could get some minutes from Chewy there Wednesday night against West Virginia, I think that'll go a long way towards Texas Tech possibly winning the game.
Yeah, absolutely. It's until you see it happen, it's too early to say that, okay, that was the moment where the light came on, because as soon as you say that, the guy turns around and he doesn't play for the next 5 games or something, So we can't go that far. But look, there is a need for him to play against this big West Virginia front line.
And Kansas this weekend coming up.
Exactly. And She got in the game earlier against West Virginia in that first game. I feel like he played about 3 minutes or so. So you would like to see his role expand. Man, it would do an awful lot for his self-confidence if he could get a couple of good games in a row. Say he played 10 minutes against West Virginia. Sure. He could build off of something like that, which would really help him for the future. So this is specifically for him. This could be a really big game.
All right, so yeah, big game, period, all the way around for the Red Raiders. All of a sudden, they find themselves perhaps on the bubble. The bottom line is, however you want to look at it, however you see Texas Tech's resume right now, they need to win the game against West Virginia. In terms of solidifying their resume, building that resume, adding some more good quality wins on that NCAA tournament resume. Mighty Joe, great stuff from you as always. Thank you all for watching, and until next time.